watching Morning at NTV.
Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us right here on Morning at NTV. We are coming to you live from our studios right here at the Serena Conference Center Hotel. And of course, like I did mention before, I couldn't be more excited to be in your midst. I missed you all on this morning show. We would have these usual weekday banters, and I've been missing many of these. But glad I'm back and glad we are wrapping up the year. And I'm hoping I'll be back doing the same in the new year so that we can have more and more of these conversations. Do not forget to send me my pointers on what you think is happening in my country with regards to the mass abductions that are happening towards opposition politicians or supporters in that regard. All right, we are here to talk about the issue of tax returns. Taxpayers are required to file returns under various tax types covered in the tax laws of Uganda. In this particular month of December, taxpayers registered for the income tax type are required to file the provisional returns for the current year running, that is 2022-2023, and the final for the previous year, 2021-2022. Given the celebratory season, the sales in this month are usually high compared to the other months of the year. But, well, this year has been actually different. I've had my people from the West Nile sub-region saying, Romeo, this December is pretty much the same. We haven't made a killing and so forth. So the taxman will have to hold his breath over that. Yeah. And we also do know that taxpayers should also be mindful of the tax obligations that come with the sales, like excise duty, VAT, among others. In this session, we are looking at returns and the obligation of the taxpayer under each tax type. Robert Wamala Rumanyika, Acting Manager, Public and Corporate Affairs, URA, will help us understand or fathom this issue on filing tax returns. And he joins me right now in studio. Very good morning, Mr. Rumanyika.
Good morning to you. Good morning, dear viewers. Thank you so much for tuning to NTV and specifically watching this segment.
How is the Uganda Revenue Authority? You're registering shortfalls when it comes to revenue targets. What went wrong?
Yeah, Uganda Revenue Authority is actually striving to see that we collect. But like you know, there are a number of issues that came around, especially the previous financial year. Yeah. And that was properly explained to you. We had a meltdown of sorts with the COVID that kind of disengaged many businesses. But we are back on the radar because, as I speak to you, we expected to collect about 26 trillion this financial year. And of course, this target is normally broken into quarters. So this particular quarter, we are looking at 7.4 trillion to be collected. As I speak to you now, we still have, I can't call it a shortfall because we have not yet ended the month, but we have a balance of 2.3 trillion that we need to collect this quarter. So, of course, working around with our taxpayers, employing several techniques, tactics, educating them, facilitating them, moving closer to them, we shall be able to see this target and even surpass it.
And indeed, we are here to talk about tax returns. There is a businessman who is wondering, Romy, why do I need to file my tax returns? Why is it so important? Well, it is actually really, really important for you to actually file your returns. That information that you put in there will actually let you know whether your business is operating at a loss or either you're making a profit. But then Mr. Rumanyika here is going to help us understand what exactly is a tax return. What does it mean when we talk about filing returns in that regard?
A return is just a declaration of income that a taxpayer makes to the authority, to URA. And it was, initially we used to do this manually, but from 2009 we got this return to be filed electronically using our electronic tax system. And this return, basically when you do it, it ascertains how much you're supposed to be paying. So you talked about your brothers in West Nile who are experiencing some bit of low sales.
It's about the turkeys. You know, one turkey was going for 150,000 Uganda shillings, a male one. A female was going for 90,000. Now they are saying a male one is going for 90, a female is going for as low as 40,000. So they are not making a killing.
They're not making a killing. It happens because there are many dynamics in businesses. But for those that are engaged in formal business, when you file this tax return, you're able to ascertain the exact correct amount that you're supposed to pay to the authority. So filing that return is a simple process. It is just a form that you pick from the URA website. Okay, it is an Excel form template, and then you fill in the different things that are asked from you. Remember, when you are operating a business as an individual or as a non-individual, of course, the non-individual category now includes the companies and other businesses that are not individual, that are not sole proprietorship. So when you register your business and you start operating, you are expected to file this return. Now, returns are basically of several types, depending on the tax type that you've registered for.
What are some of them?
Because remember, when you register and acquire tax identification number, you specify which type of tax you're going to be paying to the URA. So if you register and you have employees, definitely you have to account for them, and you'll be able to file the pay-as-you-earn return. That return is expected monthly. Okay, by the 15th of the following month, we expect a return for the previous month. There is a return on value-added tax in case you're dealing in taxable supplies. We expect that return still by the 15th. If you operate a gaming house, gaming and pool betting, for you, we expect your return every week, because we cannot keep waiting. Not betting is quite tricky. And then at the end of the month,
so
by
every
the 15th,
Wednesday they have to file a return.
Yes.
For the gaming.
For the gaming. Then every month we expect you to file another return by the 15th. Then if you are dealing in products that have local excise duty or are chargeable to local excise duty, we expect you to file a local excise duty return by the 15th day. Now, those are monthly returns.
Yes.
But now the returns I'm talking about, especially the ones that we dearly expect in this period, are the returns on income.
Provisional income tax.
There are two broad categories. We have the provisional returns and the final returns.
All right.
Now, the provisional returns, you are basically painting a picture of how your business is going to feature in a given financial year. And if you're an individual, we give you 3 months when the financial year has started. So we expected them to have filed their provisional returns by the 30th of September.
Right.
Okay. Then if you are a non-individual, like the companies, for you expect your return, the provisional return, by the end of the 6th month. So expect them to file their returns by 31st December for the financial we operate in, because we started this financial year in July. Okay. Now, when the financial year ends, like the one that ended last year in June 2022, we expect you to file your final return. Whether an individual or a non-individual, we expect your return, that template, to be filled, uploaded onto the URA website by the 31st of December. So as you're celebrating Christmas, please just know that URA expects you, if you're operating a business, as an individual, as a non-individual, to file your final return. Now, the final return amends the provisional return, because remember, when you're painting a picture, sometimes you paint a bigger picture. And like I keep referring to your brothers you told me about, they painted a big picture, a big projection. So if they're operating a formal business, they might have projected to earn quite a substantial amount of money. Because remember, when you file a return, there is tax that comes out of the return, whether provisional or final. So they painted a big picture. You might find that they even paid, okay? They even pay, because you pay part of the money that you have filed within the return. Now, when it comes to the end of the year, you find that the picture you painted was quite big. So now you have to narrow the picture. And you know, with business, there are many dynamics that come around with the business. So this final return helps you to amend what you provided for, so that you pay the actual. And within it, you'll see that you might find that in your projections and your the payments that you made, URA has to refund you, because probably you overpaid the tax. So it is at this point in time, after filing the final return, that you're able to ascertain whether you have tax payable to URA or tax to be refunded to you by URA. So it is very important for anyone who is operating a business to take keen interest in filing a return. Filing returns is not complicated. it is a simple process because...
Before we get into the step-by-step process, let's actually let them know why they should be actually filing their returns. Maybe some people are like, why should I be filing a return for my business?
You know, when you're doing a business is like a child. You nurture it, you grow it, and make sure that that business is able to move.
Indeed.
And actually, after nurturing your child, when they grow up, you still do not abandon them because they still need guidance from you, they need support from you. Now, our businessmen that operate businesses in Uganda, normally when they start up businesses, some of them do not nurture the businesses. One of the ways in which you can nurture grow your business is by being tax compliant. Because when you do file a return, one, you are saving yourself from the burden of having penalties chargeable to you. Because remember, when you fail to file a return of income, every year, every month that a return is outstanding is charged a penalty of 200,000. Now just imagine if a return was not filed and you have 12 months to pay. 12 months times 200,000, that is 2.4 million. Where are you picking it from? Probably from capital, probably from your profits. So you do not need to allow such penalties because you have failed to actually do something that is very simple, like I'm going to illustrate it, and you do it and then you're done with it.
Indeed.
Now, the other thing is a return helps you ascertain the correct tax liability you're going to pay. Because the reason why sometimes some persons are assessed by the URA, because the option is when you fail to file a return, URA will not sit back. URA will come and assess you and give you an assessment. The assessments are very popular downtown there. People say URA has assessed me. But URA has assessed you because you have failed to actually assess yourself and file a return. So when you do not file a return, you are eligible for assessment. And sometimes the assessment that comes is a bit excessive because the person assessing you doesn't have a true picture of what your business does, how it is. You see many people who have businesses there and they're actually selling other people's stock. So if all those things are not known to the taxman, the taxman will assess you and the assessment will be a bit high. And for you to undo the assessment requires some bit of effort. It requires you to have records. It requires you to have some bit of effort to have it changed. So it is very good that everyone who is nurturing their businesses also appreciates the issue of tax payment and the issue of filing a return because it saves you the burden of having to explain, having to be assessed, and many things that really kind of inconvenience the tax.
Mr. Manyika, in the next 2 minutes, let's go through who is exempted from filing these returns. What I do know is that people like Romeo Busiko are paying some kind of payee at the end of the month. I pay some 1.2 million in payee every month. It's quite a lot. And what does this money actually do? Who is exempted and what does this money actually do?
Well, who is exempted from filing a return? If you are an individual and you're in employment, like Romeo is in employment and your primary employer is NTV, and that is your only source of income, your return is filed by the employer. So you are actually exempted from filing a return. But if you have multiple sources of income, then we expect you to file a return as well. Because you might
So my return here is the payee?
Is the payee return.
Nice.
But if you have multiple sources of income, we expect you to file a return. Because remember, as you file a return, you're filing a return on chargeable income, which chargeable income is the difference between the gross income and the allowable deductions to arrive at the chargeable income. So if you have other businesses, probably after NTV, you go and you're a consultant somewhere, you are supplying things somewhere, so you actually aggregate all the income that you earn, and then you reduce it by the deductions, including the pay that maybe your employer has actually paid for you.
The $64,000 question, the step-by-step basis, how do I file a return?
Filing a return is very simple. You just go to the URA website, www.ura.go.ug, and then you log in. Of course, when I talk about login, it means, I mean, you put in your TIN, your tax identification number and password. Then you go to the return section, okay, and then you you download the form that you are filing for. Because remember, I talked about the different tax types that you register with. So you just pick the return that is applicable to that tax type, maybe income tax return, put in the period for which the return is being filed, fill in the other details. For the income tax return, they'll ask you basic questions. Maybe how much did you make in sales? You put in the figure. How much were your expenses? You put in. Some of those expenses are actually clearly highlighted in the return. Some of them are not, so there is an other section where you can indicate the different other expenses that you're actually undergoing. Then, in that same form, they'll ask you whether there is a provisional return, a provisional tax you paid earlier, or any other tax. Remember, when you supply, for example, government institutions, you are paid minus the withholding tax. So you indicate all those, and then you validate the return, okay? Validate the template, and then generate an upload file, and then put it back to the system.
That is Mr. Wamala Romanyika Robert, Public and Corporate Affairs Manager at URA. Thank you so much, sir, for having made the time to speak to us on this really pertinent issue.
Thank you so much for hosting me, and our viewers, please don't hesitate to call us on 0800 11 7000. That is our toll free. And our WhatsApp number is 0772 14 0000. God bless you and Merry Christmas. And
All right. Indeed. Thank you so much, sir, for coming through. You're still watching Morning at NTV. Before we go for a break, I do have a birthday shout out here from Sharon Mugabe, the birthday girl. And we do say, yes, she is over there. Sharon Mugabe, have yourself a very, very joyous birthday on this 22nd day of December. You are really, really blessed, and you do have friends who really care for you and really want you to go and have a full blast. But do not forget about COVID-19 and Ebola as you engage in some of those, beautiful shenanigans on your big day. Away from that, yes, indeed, we do have another interview that is going to be held by Chris on the other side with Gilbert Bukenya. But for now, let's take a break. We return